Start introducing myself. My name is Denisa. I've been within Albert for 12 years, or more than 12 years, within various positions, and now actually being on the position of employee experience manager and manager for internal communication, where I cover, of course, DEI agenda, employer branding, internal communication, health and well-being, all the nice engagement activities actually we do for Albert. We have as well events and many other things. Actually today, of course, I will be focusing on the DEI, on our BRGs and intergenerational dialogue. And I have as well with me my colleague Tereza, and I will let her introduce.
Hello, nice to see you all. My name is Tereza Gardianova. I've worked in Albert almost 3 years, and I'm responsible for projects and events according to the DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, healthy Albert and well-being, and also engagement activities and events. Yeah, and I think then you can continue.
Super. So I will actually start very shortly about the DEI strategy in Albert, which has been shaping in the last year a bit more to the Ahodeles or maybe global group strategy. Of course, we started like 4 years ago with some local activities, always looking at the Ahodeles strategy, but this time we are much more aligned. And on the slide, you actually see the 3 main, I would say, pillars which we focus on, which is gender equity, which is inclusive culture, and which is being 100% reflective of communities we actually serve in our stores. We call this strategy 100-100-100, trying to anchor it in the business as well under this name so people know what it is. And if I briefly touch each pillar, gender equity, I think well known, in a way that we want to be gender balanced on all positions, of course, looking a lot at the higher positions, mainly managers and up, and not managers in stores, but mainly managers in support office, because in stores we actually have about 70% of females in the managerial position, which is actually great. But looking at support office, it gets a bit worse, and board as well. We have like 33% of board members being females, which I think is pretty nice. We have actually, let's say, systems, or how to call it, are called balance slates in the recruitment. We look at the pay parity, career for females, because as may be good to as well mention that the underrepresented group for Albert is females in the Czech Republic. In Ahodeles, in general, we are a huge company, right, with lots of business in the States. The underrepresented group varies from country to country, but in Europe mainly it's gender, and that's why we have it as well here. 100% inclusive, I think it's as well quite clear. We focus on psychological safety, trying to teach our managers the right inclusive behavior leadership. We have employee listening tools which we use actually to hear from our employees. And we focus on families because we believe it's a great group of our employees as well, LGBT communities. But in general, we would like to be Albert for all. And I hope we are actually. And Albert family is something which we want to create as a culture. And then 100% reflective of communities we serve. We actually want to have employees that are actually in the same structure as it's like Czech society. So really to know our market means that we need to know as well our employees and be able to serve our communities. So there is lots of community work, community engagement. We cooperate with local suppliers. And here belongs as well the BRGs, which we will talk about today, and age management, which is really a big topic, the intergenerational dialogue, cooperation with all the generations, because at the moment in our stores we have employees from the age like 15 till 79, 80, which is really 4 generations, or we even say sometimes 5. sometimes we talking about the silent generation, sometimes already with the alphas, so because they are now coming on the market. So really, really huge pool of generations. So that's a sneak peek into our DI strategy in Albert, and let's have a look how we work with the BRGs, or how we actually set the ERGs or BRGs. I think you know the difference of ERG, DRG. ERG is more like group with common interest, common background, but the BRG is really with business focus and business impact, I would say. So it's not only the community, but as well bringing something to the company. Actually, what we want to do with the BRGs is really to influence the culture, the leadership, influence the business, even from the customer point of view, really create the belonging, the Albert family, as I mentioned, support, of course, the company goals, values, and as well drive the engagement, which is actually very high in Albert. The engagement score we have nowadays is like 89%, but I think it's one of the coming slides now. I speak a bit too early. So that's the why we have the BRGs, because we really believe that it helps the business to be actually effective and to actually create the right company culture. And I think on the next slide, we have actually the BRGs which we have, and I will let Tereza to introduce you the ones we actually established in Albert.
Yes, thank you very much. So I would like to introduce our BRG. We have four of them so far. The first we established was Young Ahold Delhaize Albert, which usually we refer to this group only as a YAT. YAT connects young employees across all formats in Albert. They have three strategic pillars, and it's like well-being activities or well-being, development and self-development and growth, and the last one is sustainability and business impact. It's not only for young employees, I would like to point it out, because we are Albert for all, and this rule applies to all groups. They are open for everyone, so it's not only for young people. We also have some, let's say, more experienced colleagues as members in YAT. The second one is Experience Albert. So this BRG brings together experienced colleagues, because they have so much more experience, so they share their knowledge, they share their insights across work and life. The third one is Albert Pride, so they support the LGBTQ plus community, and they are trying to help us, the HR, D&I leaders and HR leaders, to be even more inclusive, to build a better workplace for everyone, to be more even equal. This is really beneficial for us, and they are helping us a lot. And the really new BRG is Albert Parents, because as Denisa mentioned, from our annual engagement survey, we just find out that we have a big group of parents. So we establish this BRG for them, because we believe we, of course, can do something more and improve the working conditions for parents, and to create a supportive community. So they will organize workshop events and share experience again. And I would like to briefly introduce also some projects and events what the BRGs are doing. So, for example, YAT, they are organizing trips to our CSC brands. So that means that they were, for example, in Amsterdam or in Serbia last year. So they are visiting different brands. They visit the headquarters. They can visit the stores in these brands, of course, also the distribution center. So it's very beneficial, and it has a huge business impact, because they can get together with other BRGs from the CSC. So it's also great networking for them. Then they organize, for example, sustainable cooking workshop in our zero waste canteen. We could talk a lot about this canteen because it's something we are very proud of, but I think we don't have, unfortunately, so much time. And of course, there, for example, they invited Marian Jelinek as an inspirational speaker. So they are doing a lot more. But I just pointed out some of the events and projects. And Denny, I would like to ask you or I would like to hand over the word to you because you're member of Experience Albert, so I think it would be very nice to hear from you.
Yeah, sure. I'll take it. I think it's my passion. So actually, when we establish YAD, we experience it. Well, we don't have our employee group. We would like to have one. So this actually came really from the bottom, kind of, thinking that it would be great to have not all Albert, but Experience Albert. And actually, it's a group with actually employees as well. It doesn't matter what age you are or what background you are, if you are district, manager or store employee. But I have to honestly say that we have lots of people from management, or more from management than from regular employees. But what we do, we organize events actually for all, and actually experienced. Why we want to really share the experience and talking about career experience, life experience, looking at the overall society topics, what's going on the market and the society in the Czech Republic. So, but as well what's going on in the Albert, and maybe bringing answers to some of the questions. Examples of activities we actually do. Here is the one workshop: be a baker for a day. We have bakers in supermarkets and hypermarkets, but in hypermarkets we actually do our own dough and really bake as bakers. So we took the people from the supermarkets to hypermarkets to show them how it is, experience it, maybe make them interesting to work as real bakers in the hypermarkets, but more give them the chance to try it. So that's one of the, I think, I trust it's business activity. Just recently, we went to visit a children's home because we cooperate with Albert Foundation. So we actually bought lots of things, lots of products, games, and actually went there to spend the whole afternoon with the children from the children's home that don't have the parents, right? And making their day a bit different than usual. Unfortunately, I was not there, but I did hear it was very, very emotional and very nice. No, and the last one we have here as an example of activity is a recent activity with cooperation of ČZU University, Česká zemědělská univerzita, where they have a special now I say how to say it in English, obor, a special faculty, maybe, which is actually cooperating with bigger companies. It was not only with us, and doing different projects in not only corporations, but in general in Czech companies. And since generation, it's a topic for us. We have many generations, as I mentioned. We found out in Experience Albert that the managers have an issue how to actually manage all the generations in the teams. Because you have big teams where you have from really, 18 years till, employees or team members that are 50, 60, or even more, how to work with them, Of course, the biggest issue is usually the young generation because the managers are usually Generation X. So it was that a bit like this, and the cooperation was meant. Please prepare now a manual for managers how to work with Gen Z and different generations. We feel the intergenerational dialogue is here. We work on it. We are actually sometimes building teams in our stores with different generations on purpose. We know the I don't want to say issue, but we know that this generational dialogue is needed. Help us, how to work with it more efficient, and help our managers to be more comfortable as well as leaders. So that's something we are really proud of. And if we have time at the end of the session, we can look more deeper. actually how the menu looked like. And honestly, I have to say it was very interesting only to work with the Gen Z, see how they are actually thinking, how they are, what they are expecting from an employer, what they are feeling, what they need from the employer, what conditions. We as well involved YAT, the young hoteliers, to be part of it. They actually spent more than 2 weeks, I think, in Albert, with our managers, with our teams, participating one-to-ones. So as well, we got lots of reflection on how we work from actually a different angle. Of course, it needs some courage to bring them to the teams and GDPR papers and things around, but I think it was really worth it and brought us excellent experience. So now I think I talk a bit too much. So let's see if we have time at the end and we can discuss more about it. And over to you, Terka, to I think the Pride BRG.
Yes. I will just briefly introduce another projects and events what Albert Pride did. We annually attend the Fun and Run event. We, of course, are visible, or you can see us at the Prague Parade during the Prague Festival. And what it's very beneficial is that this BRG, we discuss with them a lot of like business things. They share a lot of awareness. They are inviting inspirative speakers lately, or I think it's in a plan that we should have Esther Janečková coming to Albert to spread the awareness again. So it's really great and very beneficial for us. And the next slide, how BRGs work at Albert. I would like to mention that we have two models. First one is that we have internal BRGs, and that means that they are fully integrated under the legal entity Albert. It means that it's very easy to establish them because they don't need any additional admin work. But on the other hand, they are a little bit limited with invoices, and when they want to pay something, or they need to go through the internal processes, so it's not so flexible. The second type is external BRG, and this is only YAT, and they are registered as an independent NGO. And so they have their own bank account. They have to keep official accounting records. So it brings much more admin work, but it brings them more flexibility, and they have really freedom of what they are doing. Of course, they have to, we are in touch very closely. So we always discuss what activities they will do and so on. We know the plans. But if they are, for example, if they have some workshop at the restaurant or somewhere in the city, and they decide that they want to, I don't know, buy one drink to each person or each member who is in the event, it's possible because they have their own credit card. So for YAT, it's very beneficial, and we had a lot of discussion if we should change it or no, because of course it's not so transparent for a hold. So we know that if we create a new BRG, it's not preferred way how to do it. We should now establish only internal BRG, but YAT remains as an external BRG, and we think it works quite well. And Denny, I think you should continue with the slide.
How BRGs are formed and run. Actually, I already mentioned some of them are coming top down as YAT because it was the first one, and it was example from the Dutch organization, which helped us actually to start with something like this. Already, I don't know, 5 years ago or some time ago, because otherwise, honestly, I would not know how to run a BRG or how to start with a BRG. So it was a good example, and it's been running in the Netherlands for 20 years. So for how long? It has a really great tradition there. So we could really benefit from it and learn it. And then we have like BRGs that come bottom up, as was Experience Albert. pride, I think, was so the business wanted it, but as well the people were saying, yeah, it's a great idea. So I think it was in the middle, and the same goes with parents. But actually the parents as well were coming to us and saying, well, we will appreciate, to have a group like this. We don't feel experienced, we don't feel young that much anymore, but we have lots of common with lots of parents within the company. So it could bring benefits to both sides. As you could see me, it's passion driven because all the people that work there do it on top of their job. Actually, they are volunteers and they are creating the community and actually getting the energy from the communities as well, or from the community work within the BRG. They are not getting any financial reward. We now, as a new thing, are actually giving some vouchers for shopping in Albert, of course, some development, possibility to meet different people from different, departments, which is very, beneficial for the career as well, a growth of the career. So the internal networking is important, and of course, it brings some fun and team buildings. So especially for the yacht. Actually, the well-being part is very, very important. So then on the other hand, experience Albert, we live more from the passion and from the networking and community itself. So each BRG is having, I think, its own, motivation. So, and on the next slide, I think we have structure, how we run them. Actually, besides Experience Albert, we say we are experienced enough, we don't need the board, but maybe we will as well establish it. This is how we structure actually the lead of the BRG. There is a chairperson, somebody who is taking care of events, person taking care of communication, and somebody is as well looking after the finances. So it has somehow a structure that help us to coordinate it actually from our DEI perspective. So I'm mindful of the time. Strategic alignment, actually. Of course, I think as in many companies, the BRGs are driven from the HR, and it's part of our HR people strategy, which I trust is right. So we really dedicate huge space for BRGs in our plans. What actually I plan annual meeting of our BRGs at the board with the ExCo, so they actually could present, what they have done in the past year, what they are in plans, and how actually the business can support them and the board members can support them in the future directions. And of course, they are being aligned with me and Terka. That's, I think, the I leadership, or I don't know what you meant on this slide, but I think that's mainly with us. And it's important for us to coordinate all the groups. Now it's getting a bit larger, so it's good to align within the strategic framework. So I think on the next slide, we have some numbers that are about really numbers. In general, we have like 670 active BRG members in those 4 groups, but I think it will be growing. Engagement actually of all employees, and you can see and read the questions of the engagement index in the box, is very high. Actually, people in Albert are very actually happy and satisfied, even though most of our field is actually in the stores, right? We have 20,000 employees, and like 16,000 are in our store staff. Then about 1,500 in our DCs, and some part, of course, in support of it. Maybe the store fleet is even higher. So most of them are core employees. We have as well part-timers, but the engagement actually is a number for where we ask all the employees, and the response rate is about 93%. So it's really high. So it's sometimes we think it's even unbelievable. We wish that all the market knows what a great employer we are and how people are satisfied here, but we are working on it. As well, the inclusion is actually rated very high of 91%. And actually, the BRGs is one of the benefits that people mention in open comments. Especially the Gen Z is actually really grateful when they start working here that they have actually a group of people they can communicate openly, they can align, meet other people, but as well as I mentioned, Experience Albert or Pride, that are different communities, and it's really highly appreciated. And in thoughts of our employees, it's really like a benefit. So challenges we face, of course, we do face them. That's I think you all know if you have BRGs that it's not always easy. You have change in the management, for example. Now we have new CEO, we have new HR VP, so things are slightly changing. And what we think there is there is a gap still how much the BRGs can bring to the business, because they are a customer group. They can help with innovations. They can bring more new ideas to the business and help the business, but we are not using it 100% for sure. So that's something which for me especially is one of the biggest challenges and things that I would like to change. Then it's the limited capacity. We do it, over our job. So we do it in the evenings or when we have time, which can cause delays in some activities. Or maybe, some people cannot imagine how hard it is to be part of the BRG, for example, in the board and run the BRG. So that's another thing. And actually be helpful if the people could have part of their, work or job, like 20% dedicated to work in the BRG, in the board, for example, for some time, but it's so far not accepted here. As I mentioned, we have most of the employees in our stores, and to actually reach them in the stores, make them included or part of the BRG, it's more difficult. We always think what we do that is relevant for our store employees. But yeah, it has some limits, I have to say. And yeah, and I think that's the main challenges that I mentioned. I know, Terry, if I forgot something.
Oh, you're right. It's okay. You mentioned everything.
So, and some future plans, I think that's, as I said, the stronger business integration, really work more with the board. What we got actually inspired, I think, from one of the members of D&I Shapers to really have a board sponsor for each BRG. So that's something we are working on and hope to establish still this year. We see great opportunity in the cross-generation mentoring. We have, different generations, different BRGs supporting the age management. So let's use it as well to maximum and work with this. So it's as well in planning. So these are the main three, I think, activities, and of course more communication within the Albert employees as well, Aho Delhaize employees, and of course, great to share actually with the D&I Shapers here. So I trust we are on the last slide, right? So I'm looking mindful of the time, 35. So I don't want to speak too long and maybe open the stage for questions, comments, or anything that comes to your mind. And of course, thank you for your attention.